Hello, good morning, my friends. Happy Friday. I hope everybody is doing great. I'm Coach Nikki, and I'm here in Southern California. I'm visiting the Southern California locations. It's also, we have Kaifit Carlsbad, we have Kaifit Fallbrook, Santa Clarita, but I'm also here on my son's spring vacation. So it's been really great. If you guys have been working out with me, I've been down in San Diego and now I'm moving my, getting my way up north and kind of getting ready to head home to Lake Tahoe. So Tahoe has been very freezing and lots of snow. I'm not sure how the weather is with you, but it definitely has been beautiful down here in Southern California and quite cold in Tahoe. So today, thanks for being on, you guys. We are going to talk about how to gain lean muscle and lose fat at the same time. This is such an important conversation because not only does it help with the outer appearance of our body and makes us feel strong and happy, and it combats against heart disease and osteoporosis and all kinds of things. So as you're settling in, if you do have a pen and a piece of paper, I'm going to give you lots of tips and ideas from food to supplements to exercise on how to gain muscle, lose fat, and help your basal metabolic rate, your metabolism, just and not start to thrive because you're already thriving. You're doing great. We're just doing little tweaks and levers to help you metabolize the food that you eat more efficiently, help the movement that you do have the results that you want. So I'm so excited everybody is on. Please take a second and in the chat, just say where you're calling in from so we can get to know each other, and just any questions, please, please, please reach out to me because I love doing these talks, but I really only do the talks because I love you. And I want you guys to be at your optimal, your best, and feeling incredible in this one teeny beautiful life that we have. So let's go ahead and dive in because we've literally got like 10 minutes to go over three really, really important areas when it comes to our body and how to gain muscle, lose fat, and feel awesome. So the first thing is that it's not just about the outer look of what muscles look like. It's really what's happening on the inside. And I know that so many times you always hear like 80% of our physique, of what we look like, it has to do with our food and not as much with how we move our body. But it is, to me, incredibly important to focus on both because as we age related muscle loss is a real thing. When we go through life, whether it's like bouts of having children where we can't work out as much, where it's like the ups and downs of all that we've been through in the last couple years, it's very easy to lose muscle, to gain weight. And but I want to also share with you, it's also very easy to flip that, to start to gain muscle, to lose fat, and to get that metabolism up and going. And a lot of it starts with your mindset, is knowing that your body is amazing. Your body is meant to move. Your body is meant to build muscle, and believe in your body. Instead of saying over and over the things that you don't like, or maybe the issues that you have with your body, repeat over and over, hey, my body is becoming strong. My body shows up for me every day. And I love my body and all the potential that I have to grow and gain muscle and to just become your optimal you. So start with your mindset, kick out the limiting thoughts, bring in all of the awesomeness that you already have in your body. And then we're just going to build on that. We're going to help you see and use tools to make it a little bit easier to gain muscle and to lose fat. So, like I said, it's not just about the way you look on the outside, it's how your body's functioning on the inside. So, when you focus on gaining muscle, what's happening is you're building stronger bones. So, decreased risk of osteoporosis. You're increasing your cardiovascular health, which decreases your chances for heart disease. Heart disease is like the number one killer in women and men. So, really knowing that that is one of the most important things to focus on is our heart health. And when you have lean muscle, it's not just cardiovascular. So a lot of times we think like we need to just get out. I think it was more kind of like in the 80s is like thinking about like, no, it has to all be cardio. I have to just be burning, high heart rate, running, aerobics, all of those, and that lifting weights makes me gain weight and get big. I think most of us know that that's not true because what muscle does is it also prevents um, and helps decrease the likelihood of diabetes. So when your muscles are really strong, your metabolism is higher. So you're able to burn these like heavy glycose foods, heavy like carbohydrate foods more effectively, and your pancreas is working better, your liver is working better. You have less issues with high blood pressure. So all of these things are really, really important for us to focus on. I'm going to go over some like just basic like do's and don'ts when it comes to losing fat, gaining muscle. So the biggest thing that I don't want us to do is diet. Like never diet again because what dieting does is it just wrecks our metabolism. It makes us feel deprived, and then we start doing these yo-yo behaviors that is really hard on our heart, that makes us, instead of gaining muscle, losing fat, it does the opposite. It makes us lose muscle and gain fat in the long run. So when you're thinking about, I think a lot of times if you just Google like, hey, how do I gain lean muscle? You'll hear like cut out carbohydrates. And I am very anti that. I'm anti any like extreme diet that doesn't make you feel nourished and doesn't include all of the macros, which is carbohydrates, fat, and protein. And then also thinking about the micronutrients, which is one of the most important things that I really love to dive into, is the micronutrients are the things that are in all of our vegetables and in like our sea vegetables and legumes and quinoa and brown rice. So I'm not saying that we should go out and eat, whatever, bread and butter, because I don't, it's not that I'm not going to say that I don't, but I don't eat that every day, that's for sure. But I do really focus on healthy carbohydrates as a part of my diet and don't let any one restrictive diet be what I think that we should focus on. So don't restrict your food groups if it's whole foods. So you can totally kick out processed food. You can totally work to kick out like all the added sugars and all of those things. That's great. But when you're looking at your macros, carbohydrates, protein, fat are all essential for us to build muscle and to feel great. So, um, another don't is like I said, just focusing on your high cardiovascular workouts, so the high cardio workouts. And especially as we age, but really at any age, is we need to focus on building muscle. And so thinking about, and don't be afraid of lifting heavy weights. And when you go to, whether you do Kaya with us, whether you do live stream with me, whether you go to the gym or go and pick the heaviest weight. And if you don't have heavy weights available for you at your home, if you're doing live stream or when you go into your Kaya workout, just go for the heavier one. Don't be afraid to go all the way till failure, because that's when we start building the muscle. So pick a little bit of heavier weight every time you cut. Now, you don't want to go from like where you're doing like really light weights, just like small resistance weights, into extreme heavy weights right away. We want to go nice and easy, consistent growth. Okay, so my favorite is the do's. So if you have a pen, we do want to focus on healthy carbohydrates, healthy protein, healthy fats, and healthy micro and macronutrients. So when you're looking at your healthy carbohydrates, quinoa, sweet potatoes, I love like organic potatoes. I love all kinds of beans, legumes. Um, there's like all there's a lot of beautiful carbohydrates in your vegetables as well. So carrots and broccoli and all the vegetables are unlimited, as many veggies as you can possibly want. As far as like fat and protein, just really quickly, when you're thinking about your meal, like your protein should be the size of your palm and the width of your palm. So just this size of your palm and the width. A lot of times we have this like misnomer that we need so much protein to gain muscle, and it's just not true. It's just a portion. Yes, we totally need protein. I'm not saying we don't to build muscle. I love protein. I put protein in my breakfast, my lunch, and my dinners, but you don't need excessive amounts, because what happens if we have too much protein, then it's really hard on our liver. It's really hard on our kidneys, on our system to digest and to break down the proteins, so then it can store if we get too much protein. So thinking about just like in your like macronutrients is your protein should be the size of your palm, your carbohydrate should be the size of your fist, your fats. Now, I eat more fats than the average, but your fats should be, especially if it's like processed fats like oils, should be the size of your thumb. I put like walnuts, hemp seeds in my steel cut oats almost every day. I put like pumpkin seeds on my salads. I eat avocado on almost all my meals. So as long as it's really good whole food fats, it's fine to go over the thumb size. But if it's oils, processed fats, keep it small and keep it super light, because those are the things that really add up, and don't do us a lot of favors. Okay, so when you're thinking about the reasons why you want to gain weight, not gain weight, gain muscle and lose fat, is because you want to be stronger and life gets easier when you're strong. So, as we age, at any age, if you're stronger, life gets easier. We don't have as many injuries. We can pick up heavy things. We can rush around in life, less risk of injury. There's just so many things. We have greater mobility. Our muscles we're all interlaced into this beautiful ecosystem of our body. So the stronger that we get, the easier life gets, the less likely that we have injuries, the more that we combat um, age related muscle loss. So, what I suggest for my clients and for you is to go get like an in body scan so you can see your basal metabolic rate. That's your metabolism, that's your how many calories that you burn at rest. And then in that scan, you can also see the ratio of muscle compared to fat, compared to like your bone and your water, your bones and your teeth and your water and all that kind of stuff. But you can see like, how am I doing with my muscle mass and where do I need to focus? Because sometimes we feel a little bit like we're working blind. And we talk a lot about like visceral fat, the fat that's stored around your organs, and that's a really dangerous fat. So what we want in your in-body scan or your DEXA scan is to look at where do you store your fat, because then we can focus on building. And I really think it's great to get a coach that can help you with this. You can always message me. I can get you with your local Kaya location. I can help you out. But knowing where your body is, because then we know how to target and what to target in our food, in our exercise, and how and what we want as far as loss and gain. Okay, so when it comes to food, when you focus on your macro and micronutrients, I do love supplements. So I use Aura. You guys can go, I think it's on my link tree in Instagram, Coach Nikki Warren. You can also message our corporate office and Deb can make an order for you. But I use Aura as far as my protein powder. So especially when I'm traveling, as I told you at the beginning, I'm traveling. So what I do is every morning I make a green smoothie. So I put my mixed greens, it's just Aura Organics. I do 2 scoops of protein powder, water, and I do creatine, which is a supplement that helps you build muscle as well. I don't always do that, but when I'm traveling, that is something that I know because I'm not probably having the normal meals that I can have. I'm eating out more often, going to Trader Joe's and kind of piecing together healthy meals. But so I start my day, I usually drink this after my workout. I'll do pre-workout, which helps with one, endurance. It helps you work out just a little bit harder. So, as your coach, I'm going to push you a little bit harder than you would on a run on your own or going to the gym on your own. A pre workout kind of does that as well. So, this is just Renewable Energy by Aura. So, these are some of the supplements that I take before and after my workout. Then, some of the things that I take to help get rid of the visceral fat and help my body really function well. And as far as my gut health, is I take a pre and probiotic in the morning on an empty stomach. And then I also take, let's see, um, spirulina. So Corilla. Spirulina it has a really high uh, protein levels compared to, it's like 70% more than like meat and dairy, and it's also full of micronutrients, macro being proteins, but also is really great for your iron. There's also the sea vegetables, so really good for your thyroid. So spirulina is something that I take often as well, and vitamin B. So when you're thinking about, even if you're plant-based, if you're paleo, whatever it is, however that you choose to eat, taking a really good multivitamin that has a B, especially B12, but B's in it is great. Okay, so I'm going to jam through the rest of these really quick. As far as your food, keep your carbohydrates, keep your fat, keep your protein. Just realize protein, size of your palm; carbohydrates, size of your fist; fat, size of your thumb; veggies, 2 fists. So 2 fists of vegetables for every meal, whether it's your I think also in my breakfast, whether I do like a veggie scram or whether I have my green smoothie. Really focusing on your vegetables will help you burn fat and then help you gain that muscle. So as far as working out, what I suggest is getting out of your comfort zone. So in order for us to build muscle, is we really want to think about when you're doing something. So like a push-up is such a beautiful exercise. You can do it elevated on the wall, on a bench, or on the floor on your knees, or knees elevated. But what you really want to get to is that it's so hard by the end of your set, whether you're doing 1, 10, 12, or 1 minute of push-ups, you can't do one more. So that's called getting to failure. And it's stressing your muscles, so your muscles break down and rebuild that lean muscle. So get out of your comfort zone as much as possible. Progressively overload. So like I said, don't start with really heavy weight, but every time you come into your workout, and whether you're doing your workouts at home or whether you're doing them at your Kaya gym or wherever you are, pick heavier weights. So progressively, it's the same like with when you start training for running, is you don't want to increase more than 10% per week because that can lead to injuries, but you do want to increase steadily, whether it's your own body weight, like pull-ups, push-ups, squats. You can hold your weight for front squats or back squats. All of the body weight is awesome. You could that's really all I do is body weight. I don't do heavy lifting, but I do. My body's heavy, and it's my machine that helps me gain muscle and lose fat. So progressively overload, just slightly more than the last time. It doesn't have to be an exact science. Just know, like when you're a little bit sore, that's good. And when you feel a burn, not a hurt, but when you feel a burn, that means you're building lean muscle. So give yourself that. Yes, that's what you want to look for in your workouts. Um, I, not just science shows that compound movements are really, really good for us. In life, we move multi-directionally. And so when you're just at a gym and you're doing like a leg press, you're only using just the one muscle. But when you're using this like multi-directional movement system, we're building muscle, but we're also building our coordination, we're building our balance, and we're able to take what we're doing, and it's called functional fitness. So then we're able to go out, and I live in Tahoe, so shovel snow. You're able to garden, you're able to pick up heavy groceries or your kids or your grandkids. So when you're thinking about building lean muscle, think about like multi directional movement exercises. And when you're doing something, like say your coach is telling you to do something that feels awkward and frustrating, like getting on the ground, standing up, getting on the ground, standing up, you tell yourself, like, this is really good for me. I don't want to do what's comfortable for me every day. I want to shake it up. I want to do things different because that's what life is always different. I want to be functionally fit, not just in the gym fit with these big muscles that really don't do anything. So thinking about targeting lots of different muscles with one exercise. When you think about your push-ups, it's such a beautiful exercise because it's not just your shoulders, your chest, and your triceps. It's also your abs, it's your glutes. It's pressing through your whole body from your head to your toe and becoming really strong. So add push-ups as much as you can. Squats is really good for mobility. A lot of times as we get older, maybe we don't want to squat as deep, but if you think about when you sit at a chair, you're going below 90. And so it is really important for that mobility from our hips. And when we drop below 90, we're utilizing our hamstrings and our glutes to get up instead of just staying low in our in our squats. This way, you're going to be real quad dominant. So squats are really, really important. Deadlifts, and I can go over all these with you if you just come to my workouts. We have a workout coming up at 9 o'clock. So just thinking about as much as you can, like if you are working at home, get a good set of kettlebells, dumbbells, these functional weights that you can take around with you and you can utilize in lots of different ways, and get a coach because I think that really helps as well. Okay, so I think that's it, you guys. I just really wanted to share with you what I do every day. I really focus on gaining muscle. That is like with what I eat, how I move. I never focus on losing weight because that's like I like additive behavior. I like focusing on things that add greatness to your life. So the more muscle you have, the longer you live, the uh, more your metabolism rises. So we can eat. We don't have to be hungry. We don't have to do these crazy diets. Muscle is like the size of muscle. If you look at the size of fat is the size of a pound of fat is the size of a cantaloupe, and the size of muscle is the size of a baseball. So you do, even though maybe your weight will stay the same, your body starts to sculpt and looks different. So when you're looking, and always check with your physician before, especially when I talked about like the different supplements, make sure that you check with your healthcare professionals before you add anything, that you do your own research. These are just the things that have worked for me personally and my clients. So when you're looking at your meals, focus on great carbohydrates that are whole foods, that are not processed, protein, fat, and then all of the micronutrients in like all of your vegetables. When you're thinking about gaining muscle and losing fat, it could a probiotic and a prebiotic can be really helpful in like digestion and your metabolism. When you're lifting weights and when you're working out, it's not just cardiovascular. Add some weights to your body and get yourself out of your comfort zone. Okay, I love you guys. I will see you